Welcome back to season 3 of Aldi's Mamia&Me podcast, a show that's all about supporting mums and dads on the roller coaster that is parenthood. I'm Jen Hogan, and if you're a regular listener of the show, you may have heard me back on the very first episode of Mamia&Me with Amy Huberman. I am delighted to be taking the baton now, and as always, we'll be continuing with a fantastic array of guests from sports stars, parenting experts, TV personalities, and lots more. And don't forget, if there's somebody you'd like us to chat to or a topic you'd like us to cover, please do get in touch. Details are in the show notes at the end of the show, or you can get in touch with aldi.ie/Mamia. So what do you need to know about me? Well, I'm an author, a broadcaster, a journalist, and a mammy to 7 children. I'm all about the messiness of parenthood and not so much about the homework. But you'll learn more about that as we go on. So let's get started. Our very first guest is lifestyle blogger, podcaster, entrepreneur, and soon mum-to-be Louise Cooney. A huge welcome to the show, Louise.
Thank you so much. It's my first time doing something like this. So I'm like, how am I going to do with these questions?
Don't worry.
You'll have to grade me at the end. You've got 7 kids, so you are an expert, right?
Well, you know, I don't know as much as any of us really. Are any of us really an expert?
When you described the different people who'd be on the podcast, you said parenting experts, and in my head I went, what's that? Where are they?
Do you know something? I think we all have those people that we kind of turn to and go, please give me the solution. Tell me what to do here. And I don't know that there's ever that perfect. And certainly I haven't discovered it anyway from having 7 of them. I haven't found a perfect answer, a perfect solution, but there's always tools and tips. So that'll be some of the people that we'll be talking to. But anyway, tell me about you. How many weeks pregnant are you now?
So I'm 35 weeks now at the moment.
And how are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel, mostly good. Definitely very pregnant at this stage. I've had a really nice pregnancy, so I feel guilty almost complaining. It's been pretty smooth, and, I've been lucky I wasn't very sick in the first trimester. Second trimester, I didn't even feel pregnant. But now I'm like, I've got pelvic pain. I can't really walk. I'm really tired. But it's getting very exciting. It's getting close.
Getting really close.
It's hard to believe I'm on the cusp of what's going to change my life forever. It's hard to believe that.
It is, but it's so surreal, isn't it? Like even if I think back to the first time when I had my own daughter, the first time, I still remember that thinking, this is amazing. I'm going to be a mom, but without really understanding that I was going to be a mom. Like, have you envisaged or have you any idea of what lies ahead?
I can't picture what life will be like. I try, but I don't think I'm going to get the image right in my head until it happens,
Yeah.
And me and Mark talk about it, and we're both so excited, and we're both aware that it's going to be hard, and I think we're just going to have to take it as it comes. And I know it will be more amazing than it will be hard, and people give me a lot of reassurance in that. But I just don't know. It's like, how can you even imagine? I'm the first one in my family to have kids. Bar my parents, obviously. So and same with Mark, first grandchild on both sides. Yeah. So it's not something that's really very familiar to either of us right now. So it's really exciting.
I mean, the one good thing, I suppose, is when you are that first person and you don't have siblings or friends who have gone through this yet, I suppose, does that help maybe in avoiding the whole unsolicited parenting advice thing?
So when I hear people say that, and I was really cautious of that, especially because I share a lot online. I was very cautious of that when I was sharing the news that I was pregnant, that I was going to get a lot of unsolicited advice. And honestly, for me, I haven't really gotten very much advice that I haven't really read and been like, oh, okay. I'm learning. So that advice for me is really helpful, because even if it's not something I'll do, I can listen to it and say, all right, so they did it like that, and then this person did it like that. And I can kind of take little bits from everyone, and,
Yeah.
And genuinely, everybody's just trying to help, and everyone has their different ways, and that's totally, that's great.
So you haven't got well, wait till I tell you, miss, you have no idea what's coming your way. You haven't got the kind of gratuitous gloating.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you lucky thing.
I know, yeah.
I want to know your secret. How did you avoid this? How did you avoid it?
I don't know. Maybe it's coming. Maybe I've been so busy focusing on everything else that I just haven't really noticed.
They're queuing up waiting to give you advice and tell you all the different ways you should be doing it and maybe what you're doing wrong. And somewhere in between there will be comments and people reassuring you that you're doing things right, but you'll be, well, that's the thing with unsolicited advice, isn't it? You can kind of feel a little bit weighed down by it. And you were saying there like that you share a lot online. And you mentioned when you did your pregnancy announcement online, which was gorgeous. I watched that. It was really lovely. But what stage did you decide to share?
So we started telling people when I was about 8 weeks, after we had an early scan. And then we said, okay, it's time to let our parents in on what's coming down the tracks, And then we kind of told our other, brothers and sisters as we saw them. And it's so nice. It's such a nice part because the first trimester is really hard. Yeah. Especially when it's your first time, you're very alone. Your life has changed. You're really tired. You're going through all these symptoms and you can't tell anyone. So it was really nice. It was a really nice part of the first trimester to let people in and share the excitement. So we started at about 8 weeks and then I shared the news online. I was 16 weeks then. Right. So it was about 4 months. I just felt right at that point. I told kind of my close friends and like it's exciting. You want to share the news. I was looking forward to sharing that journey with people as well. Yeah.
And was your pregnancy something that you had been planning for a while? Was it this fabulous surprise?
It was something that me and Mark spoke about. As long as I can remember, as long as we're together, we both really wanted kids. And yeah, it's something that we really wanted, and we're lucky that it happened, I suppose, as quickly as it did for us, because I know a lot of people struggle. So we were lucky in that sense. It was definitely something that I was nervous about. You try for so long to not get pregnant. And, I had my own issues with my periods and them coming too regularly. And I'd actually gone to my doctor now for the pregnancy a couple of years ago just to check everything was okay. And he said, come back to me when you're having kids. And I didn't imagine it would be like when it was. I'm like, it's great. It's you can plan, but you can't plan down to a T, I don't think, with these things,
That is true. And, even there you're saying that, you were checking out with your doctor, or you were talking to your doctor about periods and stuff. So you had that kind of fear maybe then that it wouldn't be so easy. Did that add to the kind of whole surrealness of the situation then when you did find out that you were pregnant and you were lucky enough to get pregnant?
Yeah, I guess there's a lot to consider. There's a lot of different parts of our lives that had to change and have changed. And, maybe not always, there's always ways of figuring things out, but we didn't consider every single aspect. I don't think most people do.
Nah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't, that's in an ideal world. Yeah, everything's, the cot's ready to go, like when you get pregnant. But then what would you do while you're pregnant?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
What would you do? These are the things to keep us going.
And that's why we got 9 months. And it's actually quite a long time. Like it is enough time to get prepared, even though I'm 35 weeks and we still don't have a nursery.
That will come. That will all come, and you have time anyway, because baby being with you for the first little while, so you have loads of time. Yeah, at least I'm saying all that. Going one of these days, my daughter's 22 now, and I still haven't got her room sorted properly. So 35 weeks is nothing to worry about. In terms of something you said there to me, it just kind of made me think even about my own experience of pregnancy and this idea that you can't tell people in the first 8 weeks, or you can't tell people. Do you feel that's a real pressure maybe that's put on women, an expectation even maybe by society that we shouldn't tell, we shouldn't tell people because it's too early and maybe something might happen? Like, why do you reckon we don't?
I never understood that. I never, I know it's an old fashioned thing. And it was kind of so you didn't have to share with everybody that if you had gone through a miscarriage or, for us, I think we just wanted a little bit of time to ourselves to get our own heads around it. And, then it was nice to be able to share the news and to plan sharing the news. But saying that, if when it's to happen again, I'll probably tell people sooner, you know. Because I'm not a good liar. I'm out for dinner, I'm having a glass of wine, and, and
you're why aren't you drinking, Louise?
Absolutely. I had to stop going home because they kept offering me wine. I had to keep saying no. And I'm like, it was the same excuses, you know. So
it is hard to cover the tracks though, isn't it? Like it's really hard to cover your tracks when you're pregnant and you're trying to keep it a secret.
Yeah. I'm trying to think the other things that I had to change that were different, like different things I couldn't eat, you know, the way you eat your eggs and things like that.
Yeah, and you're getting nervous about ice cream and stuff. Things like that. Is this right? Are things pasteurized? I can't be around cats, you know.
I think going back to your question, I think it's really important to have a support network there if something was to go wrong.
Yeah.
And that was our mindset when we were telling our families, you know, at 7, 8 weeks, I think it was. But it's dependent on the person. People can be really nervous about talking about it, about, you know, if something does go wrong, then they have to talk to their family. Maybe they don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's just about confiding in people that you really would feel comfortable talking about it too if something went wrong.
Yeah, no, I think you're right there. But you're told anyway, you went online, you're sharing your pregnancy a lot online. And what kind of reaction are you getting to that? Are people enjoying being part of the journey? Do they have questions for you?
Yeah, everyone was amazing and like so happy for me and for us. And, you know, I guess there's a lot of mums that follow me that were so excited for me. And, you know, I haven't had a single mom message me and say, oh my God, what have you done? You know, it's all, this is going to be the most amazing journey of your life. Like, you know, and that makes me feel better. You know, that's.
It is though. It's such an amazing and exciting and terrifying time. I think it is terrifying.
It's everything. Yeah.
Can I ask you, have you thought much about the birth? Is that something you're not thinking about or?
No, I've definitely thought about it. It's not something that I'm hugely scared by.
Good.
I'm more scared by like the aftermath.
Yeah.
I'm more scared, you know, by that kind of thing. I have listened to some like hypnobirthing podcasts, which at first I hadn't even heard of the word hypnobirthing.
Is this something you're considering?
See, I think there's a misconception with what it is. So hypnobirthing can apply to any type of birth.
Yeah.
It's just like getting your mind. That's why I don't like the name. It's just like getting your mindset ready and like understanding how the body works to get a baby out and all this kind of stuff that I actually didn't really know. It's just basically getting your mind ready for birth, whatever way you decide to do it. So I've listened to some podcasts on that and I feel like I should be doing more like breathing stuff. But yeah, look, it's even this morning Mark said to me, and are we going to talk about your birth plan? And I'm like, it's very hard when you haven't been through it to try and overthink this stuff. You know what I mean? I don't want to be going in asking for the hospital to play a certain song. Do you know, like, and this is stuff you can actually do before I even know what I'm up against. Like, I imagine I'll be just consumed with what's going on.
Yeah.
This is what I mean, because I haven't been through it.
You have no idea.
Maybe the second time I'll go in and I'll be like, well, did you have a birth plan?
Me? No. Did I have a birth? I planned it to be as pain-free as possible, if I'm perfectly honest.
Okay,
I was not a big fan of pain, and I'm not a big fan of pain. And I did know going in, I wanted all the drugs. And that didn't happen each time. It did some of the times.
Oh, really?
My first birth was really fast, really, really fast. I mean, I went in, I was just having a blood pressure check and I had gone up and they brought me in and I was fully planning to go back home that day and they said, well, your blood pressure's gone high, we need to keep you in. And they induced my labour. I had the most fabulous midwives ever. I just remember them. And they were did you get the little magazine from the hospital?
Yes.
You know, and they were the midwives featured in it.
No way.
I was so excited. I was delirious with confusion and, you know, being overwhelmed while I was giving birth and pointing out to one of the midwives and saying, "Oh, you're in the magazine." And this was my big high from it. I still always remember that. But I didn't have a birth plan. I just knew that I was planning to ask for drugs. I knew that was my plan. And the first time I went in and my daughter was born really fast and I got some drugs.
So you mean like the epidural?
The epidural, yeah. Oh, geez, whatever they give me. I'm being perfectly honest. Whatever they would give me, I was prepared to take it, whatever took away the pain. And I remember going in, being the labour progressing really, really fast. I mean, my first child was born in 2 hours and everybody thinks this is amazing. But it's quite intense when it's that fast. And even for you trying to get your head around what's happening it's an experience. But look, birth is an experience. That's not to terrify you. It was a very, very positive experience. And I did manage to get some drugs, which took the the edge off it. But for my second, I had the birth plan because I'd been through this. So I thought, I'm going in, I know what I'm going to do. And anyway, he had other plans, as in my son. And yeah, he was just born like within 35 minutes and there was no drugs and there was no anything. And that was nearly a shock because I had an clear idea of what I wanted, and this was nothing like what I wanted. And so I'm kind of with you. It's nice to have an idea of what you'd like to do, I think, but it's also great if you can be open and go, you know what, we'll just see what happens on the day, because nobody knows what way the day will go.
That's it.
Yeah, no one knows how you'll react to certain situations.
I've asked a couple of my friends who've had kids, and 2 of them are midwives, and I've said, what are your thoughts on this versus that? And it does always come down to, try and do it the way you want to do it, but be open-minded.
Yeah, I think that's the best advice of being open-minded.
And I am. And I'm like, I just want the baby to get here safely. And I know that sounds very cliche, but as long as the baby gets here, I'm sure, I don't really, I don't know if I really care about everything else at this point. That's totally where my mind is at right now.
And you don't know what you're having, sure you don't?
I don't know.
I didn't know. You're probably very much in the minority there by not finding out whether you're having a boy or a girl. I think most people do find out nowadays, don't they?
Yeah, I've totally convinced myself that I'm having a boy though.
So had I, and she was a girl.
Oh, really?
So had I. I was convinced.
So when I say no, I feel like I'm lying, but I'm like, I don't know though.
Yeah.
But even stuff I'm buying now, I'm seeing it. I'm like, Louise, that's kind of boyish, and you still don't know.
It's amazing, isn't it, how you can have such a strong opinion. I think it was because my children were half reared while I was pregnant. I mean, I had really big babies. Have they given you kind of any indication of whether?
He said that, I'm tall and Mark's tall. He said that he imagines it might be 8 pounds.
Yeah.
8 pounds,
so when you're told you're having a good sized baby, I think does that sway us a bit to think we're having boys? I don't know.
You know what? There's all these old wives' tales as well.
Yeah.
So the way I'm carrying my bump, it's low. It's at the front.
What are you craving? What are you craving food-wise?
Sweet, which is boy.
Okay. Oranges. Are you craving oranges?
Orange juice
is girls,
absolutely. Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm, apparently so.
What is the other ones? The heart rate. I don't know what the heart rate is though.
Yes,
I don't think I checked that.
The heart rate. Yes, that's one I watched. And then the sound. One of them is if it's like a galloping horse, and the other if it's like a train. And they kind of sound the same to me, so I'm not really sure how.
There's another one you can do where if you sway a ring over your belly and it goes one way or the other.
They're fun to try, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's absolutely a bit of fun. And it's kind of, I had my baby shower there last weekend and everyone kind of guessed what it was. And it's just fun, it's we saved all the cards. We'll see who gets the closest, And
see, and have you thought names?
Yeah, we have one of each.
Right.
I haven't come across anything since that, and neither has Mark, that we like.
So when you just know your names,
maybe we just know, because I'm not swayed by anything else. I think it's because we started trying them out, know. So it seems strange now that we might, if we were to change it.
I suppose one of the things your followers are going to be interested in is, well, first of all, when are we going to find out that you've had the baby? How soon are you going to let us know?
God, I don't know. I don't.
There's one to.
I know.
Will you let people know if you're in labour?
No, I don't think so. I don't know what I would post. I feel like that's the step too
contractions
too far.
Coming every 10 minutes.
No, I'm not that eager to
4 centimetres dilated.
I don't think so. I think because then I think your phone would be blowing up, and it's really important to have that time yourself. And it's very hard when your phone's blowing up like that. And I need my phone to take loads of pictures of the baby when it's born, so I don't want.
You can't have people coming in and blue ticks.
Maybe I'll delete the app for a couple of days, so that I'm not.
You're not just everybody going, she's gone quiet. That's it. Has something happened, and all those,
which is fine, but I just want to be in the moment and take it all in.
Have you given any thought to the whole idea of how much you might share? Because you've probably heard now, or maybe you haven't yet, but you've heard this idea of sharenting, where parents post where parents post pictures of their children online, and there's kind of mixed school of thought on it. Now, I give you my own experience even there. Now, I'm somebody who uses social media quite a lot too, and I write about parenthood, and I write about even raising my family. So I'm always conscious there and trying to get that balance right. Have you thought about, will your followers get to see your baby? Will they get, how much are you planning to share?
Yeah, like it's very hard to know before the baby comes here, but it's something I have thought about. It's something me and Mark have spoken about. And like where we stand right now, I think I will share the baby's face.
Yeah.
But maybe my mind on that will be changed when the baby is here. And like, I think I'll be mindful of what I'm sharing. I think, you know, I don't want to be sharing everything because it's its own person, you know. But it's also a lovely part of the journey to be able to share. And if I didn't have a platform, I would be sharing it. And you know, I'm like, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know yet.
It's hard to make that decision, all right, when you're a few weeks away from meeting this little person. It's hard to know what road you'll take.
And I also think, you know, when they're very small, they grow and they change. Yeah. So if we decide to later on down the line, maybe when they're in school or something, to not share them anymore, then that might be something that we would do, you know.
Have you given any thought, I suppose, because, you know, you talked about your pregnancy, both the highs and lows and the difficulties, and it's important to you to be authentic. Have you given that kind of any thought to how much you'll share, if you do choose to share, which you think you might at the moment, because you want to stay authentic, you want to stay true, you want to share the highs and lows if you're going to, and you want to be that person who shows what real life is like. But if you're showing what real life is like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, this is something I've thought about, actually, because I find this even before baby. You know, if you're not sharing your worst moment, if you're not coming on crying, or you're not being real. But for me, when I'm having a bad day, I need to put the phone down. I need to step away. Yep. I don't want to be sharing things in haste or in an emotional state that I wouldn't stand by afterwards. Or, you know, sometimes it can seem ungrateful, or it can seem like you're blowing things out of proportion, or you know what I mean, if you're to be totally honest about why you're upset sometimes. Like, that's just reality. So I think it's about sharing, yes, I've had a really bad day, or I'm really emotional today, but you know, maybe I find sharing it in hindsight sometimes, because you have a bit of perspective on it, you know. Like, that's how I kind of like to do it, because I feel like I've made a little bit more sense of it then.
So kind of distance yourself a little bit from where you are at that time before you share.
Yeah,
and give it some thought. So
give it some thought. Give it a minute. Give yourself that time to process what's going on, and why are you upset, and why are you having a hard time. You know.
No, but I get that. Hormones, the hormones. How? Tell me about your symptoms and the hormones.
Well,
tell me what's that.
We picked a good week to do it. I'm fine today, right now. I'm fine. I had a bad week now last week. Okay. Like, I've had like maybe 2 or 3 weeks worth of pregnancy that I found really hard with hormones. Just down and like tired and not myself, and overthinking and worried and all of the above. You know.
Yeah.
I found those very, very hard, harder than normal times, you know, when I'm not pregnant, because everyone gets those anyway, you know, but it's multiplied when you're pregnant.
And how did you manage that?
Well, there's a great like mental health resource in the hospitals. They all provide that now, I'm pretty sure, which is amazing. There's a lot of information online. So in like my research, or in my, I suppose, developing my toolkit to manage it, I've learned about matrescence. You're probably familiar with that. Well, from what I understand, it's kind of like this, similar to adolescence, when you're a teenager becoming an adult. Now I'm like an adult becoming a mother, which is a huge transition. It's an identity shift. My body is changing, and there's all sorts of things flowing through my veins, you know, and I'm worried and I'm scared, and as well as bringing up a baby, I also have to manage work around that, and my own identity and my friendships, and you know, so much. We've moved house. There's so many changes that come with being a parent and bringing a baby into the world. So it's only natural that you're going to feel that, you know. And even knowing that has made me feel so much better. There's a really good TED Talk on it, actually. It's on YouTube. And yeah, I suppose other things that I've done to kind of help manage those days are like writing things down really helps. Talking to people, talking to my friends, people, like there's a couple of people that I really would confide in about it, and it just makes me feel so much better. It used to be exercise. Exercise used to be a great one for me, but I can't exercise right now.
The old pelvic girdle pain,
and
that's
I feel it. Like I do. I feel it not being able to get out for fresh air as much as I'd like to, or you know, like getting those endorphins from exercise. Like that would have been a complete part of my routine, and it can't be now because it just hurts too much.
These are such vital conversations, though, and like you're being incredibly honest there in saying that. And I think it's really difficult sometimes, isn't it, to say all these worries or how you're feeling about yourself, because it can be perceived as a bit self-indulgent. I think we've been conditioned as women, to be incredibly grateful for motherhood, which we are. We're absolutely incredibly grateful for it. But sometimes you're not allowed to say what's troubling you or what's worrying you or any of those things. And when you talk about exercise, and that, I suppose I'm thinking myself back to just after I had my own children and that kind of postpartum period, when it's a little bit difficult to get those opportunities to do the things for yourself that you need to do to be well and to be, to kind of be in the best place physically and mentally too. And just as you're kind of talking about mental health there, what is mental health something you're very conscious of, or is it something that you place a lot of focus on?
Yeah, it's something I'm super conscious of. I think it's something as a society we're all way more comfortable talking about now. My cousin died by suicide.
I'm sorry.
In 2019. Yeah, so it's made it way more important for me to be open and talking about it. And yeah, like I suppose when I'm talking about mental health, I don't think it ever should take away from what you're grateful for or what you're happy for, excited about. But it is something that it happens when life is happening, you know what I mean? So you have to learn to manage it and develop your own toolkit to deal with it.
Have you any kind of plans in place to make sure you can try and look after your mental health when baby is born? Knowing as much as you can know before you're there.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, I've been doing the work now to kind of get those toolkits in place, and the hospital can be really helpful with that. If it's like, for me, it is something that I worry about.
Yeah.
I work from home by myself anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm more prepared than I realise, but I do find that hard. And I'm sure a lot of mothers find that hard. So it's just about being prepared. There's little booklets they can give you, the HSE do them, where it's like preparing for postnatal well-being, having food in the fridge. What can I do to make myself feel good if I can't get out for a walk? Just different things like that. Like, I suppose talking and preparing your partner for what it looks like post-baby.
Yeah.
Post-birth.
Yeah, the great divide.
When are you going to get your sleep that you need to function?
Yeah.
And things like that, yeah.
At the strangest and most erratic of hours is the answer, as you do. Are you going to take much time off? Because you mentioned working from home there, and it's really like, do you find boundaries-wise it's difficult?
I will find it hard for sure. I don't know is the answer. I thought I would have more of a plan in place. I feel like I'll be lost without, I'm not somebody who is comfortable sitting at home watching TV all day. Especially just because that's like my workplace. Yeah. I'll be like, I could be doing more, but I know that, like, kind of enjoying that downtime and looking after resting after giving birth, and catching sleep. Like, I haven't been a napper. I'm not really a napper at all, even though I'm so tired. I'm like, I'm going to have to give in one of these weeks here at 35 weeks hanging on. But look, it's going to be a learning thing, and maybe it'll take me going through it once to really learn the best way to do it. I'm so thankful Mark gets 4 weeks paternity leave,
which is great to have somebody
I'll
around.
have a hand to get to grips with things
and try and work out how. So you have no real plans for working out how you're going to juggle it all yet?
No. I mean, I've been trying to put plans in place. Like, I've hired somebody to help me out with Clue, which is my activewear business, and I'll take a step back from my online jobs for the moment, because you know what, because it's coming up to the end of the year, it's kind of easy to I can see that as a right, and then we'll review in January, and kind of see where we are. How have you found it? Because you work for yourself.
I do. Well, I mean, I suppose I have a few different. I obviously host this podcast, and I suppose between writing and broadcasting and different things like that, and the nature of my job is it's really unpredictable. So I don't really know from one day till the next quite. I know when my deadlines are, but I don't know where I'll be expected to be maybe at any given time.
That's the same for me.
Yeah, it's really hard to juggle. And over the course of having the 7, I have been every type of mum. I've been part-time mum. I've worked in the office mum. I've been work from home mum. I've done my stint as a stay-at-home home mum. I have worked through the night because the baby's not sleeping, so put him on the boob and write while you're doing that, mum. I have literally tried everything and tried to see what will work. And I very much, when people talk about like winging it and hoping for the best, that is me. That is me day on, day in,
that makes
day
me
out.
feel better because I'm like, okay, I can do that.
Yeah, well, there you go, Louise. It's all going to be good. If you can do that, you're sorted.
When it comes to figuring out an exact plan now, no, I can't do that. But I can figure it out as I go, for sure. Yeah.
That's the whole thing. When you are working for yourself and when your business is your responsibility and when you
and also it's something that brings me happiness, you know.
And likewise, I think that's a huge part of it. And for like yourself, when it brings you that kind of happiness, you go, you know what, it's worth it. It's worth it. I might be procrastinating on social media, avoiding those deadlines, playing words by F or David on a regular basis, that being every few days. But I love what I do, and I think that's a big help. And I think that's how you will find your way to work around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely, if you can wing it, you'll be grand. You'll be grand.
Perfect.
You'll be bothered.
I'll be calling you up saying, well.
Call me up because I won't be asleep. I can guarantee I won't be asleep. I'll be late for a deadline or something. No, I won't be late if my editors are listening. No, I'll be on time. But I'll be sailing close to the wind. Can we compare pregnancy symptoms? Can we compare what I had? I'm kind of envious. I'm always jealous of people who are pregnant. It's a terrible thing.
Really?
I think I might be slightly addicted to having children. And it's are you
going to have more?
Oh, I keep saying never say never. And again, hopefully my husband isn't listening to this, or I may not have one anymore after. No, I say never, but no, 7 is loads. 7 is loads. But I have to say never because I think I'll be 80 and still going, never say never. We've got medical science now. Let's see where this takes us. It's just the idea of closing that door. It's just because it is so magical. And it's so hard. And that's not to terrify you. It is amazingly hard as well. And I absolutely adore, I love being a mum, which is why I did it so many times. But when I see people who are pregnant, and I'm so jealous of that amazing excitement that's coming your way. And I know the bits that'll be, I know, watching from having been through it a few times, look, God, it's amazingly exciting and it's wonderful, but it's hard. Life is hard. Lots of things that are wonderful are hard. Doesn't mean we shouldn't do them, you know. But I am just, but then I kind of think back and I think of certain symptoms. This is nearly to try and convince myself I shouldn't have any more. I swear to God, that's what it is. But can we compare? What other symptoms have you had besides the old hormones, which I get you? I'm not sure they ever really go away. Sorry.
That's so funny because I look at my mom and my mom can cry over anything. I'm like,
everything.
Stop, it's so embarrassing. I'm like, oh my God, I might be becoming that.
Prepare to cry when you see Paul O'Connell talking to Kevin the Carrot online. Oh my God, it's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. When you see a television ad, this is what's going on.
The worst when I'm the other night, I got Aileen Gary's new poetry book.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is so lovely. Let me read this out to you. But sure, I couldn't read it.
That's life now. That's life, Louise. This is it.
I was like, sorry. And I he can hear the change in my voice and I'm trying to power through it. I'm like, you know.
It's terrible. It's actually one of those things. I do think it should come with a warning because, you know, we'll talk about it and we'll talk about the likes of the 3-day, you know, drop, and we talk about what we don't talk about enough is how everything forevermore makes you cry. And not in a sad way necessarily, just in it's just so perfect.
Just you feel it. And even when you don't know you feel it. It's like your body knows more now. You know, we were going to the 20-week scan and I was really nervous for that big scan. And we're driving in the car and I said, God, okay, we better look up what they're going to check for. Started reading the list. You know, they're going to check the different organs. They're going to check the brain. And I got to face and I couldn't say the word face. I was so emotional. I was bawling, crying. And I'm like, I don't know why that word set me off so much. But you've seen now I'm even jealous of the 20-week scan. And I know what a worrying time it is, but it's just so, it is all exciting, fabulous. Yeah. It is. But in terms of other symptoms,
piles, leaky boobs, need to go to the loo all the time.
Need to go to the toilet all the time now. Yeah, so that's third trimester, the new thing for me. Yeah. I felt, it's like when I switched into the third trimester, I got a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then it was like, bam. So different.
It's just
the second trimester was
so
bliss.
Inconvenient.
It was just perfect.
Yeah, it's the best time. Your hair is fabulous. Your skin is fabulous. You feel fabulous.
And I felt great,
and you can move.
Yeah. So now pelvic pain is probably my biggest one. I have really bad brain fog. I cannot think for the life of me. If I can't think of a word, forget it. I don't even try anymore. I just say, let's move on. What else do I? My body clock has changed for sure. wake up at 6:30 every morning now, wide awake.
They say that's supposed to be preparation for baby coming along.
I've never felt that awake at 6:30 in the morning before, so it's different.
I'm not sure why it's supposed to be. I think it's a bit mean, of Mother Nature, not to let you catch up on the OZs.
I know, and then I come 8:00, I'm like, oh my gosh, so tired. I'm another 2 hours here.
But do you know what? It's a bit like marathon training. You are going to be so incredibly impressed at how little sleep you can survive on. You're gonna and you won't have,
especially when you sleep so much during pregnancy.
It's just that turnaround. And the amazing thing is, before I had kids, I wouldn't have found it the easiest to fall asleep. I wouldn't have. Broken glass I could sleep on now. It's just incredible. So there is that. So if we flip the script, it's quite positive actually when we just think about it that different way. The pelvic pain, you haven't had to resort to crutches yet, or
no.
Have you got the old sexy girdle that you wear underneath?
I didn't get one of those. My doctor said, you
haven't lived, girl.
Really?
No, you have to.
Okay.
They make a big difference.
Okay, maybe I'll get one. I'll try one out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's worth a try. What else do I have? What are my other symptoms?
That'd be the brain fog.
Oh, yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. It's such a real thing, isn't it?
I'm laughing and it's just so true.
And it makes work very hard because it takes everything takes me longer.
Yeah.
And I get frustrated then, I'm like, oh, this should not take me this long, know? I'm not spending time well.
Did you eat everything all around you?
Yeah, I'm still doing that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you find the body image change? I found that hard. Did you find the changing shape?
What I found hard about it was I didn't really have a bump for ages.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted one. I felt like...
To make that distinction between...
Yeah, I felt like not pregnant.
Yeah.
And I was like, probably didn't have a proper bump until about 24 weeks.
Right.
And now, it would hurt my feelings when people would say you don't look pregnant, which is so silly. But hey, I'm sensitive.
But you're the hormones,
yeah, it's silly. But to be honest, I've loved the bump coming in, and I feel great. I love it. I feel like I'm going to hate my body afterwards, but right now I love it.
You always look fabulous. You will look fabulous, and you always look fabulous. And pregnancy really suits you, so I can understand why you love the bump so much. I ended up, I did, not that I found I liked having the bump. I'd be like that too. I like the bump, and I like the fact that the girls walked into the room.
I feel ripped. My stomach's never been so hard.
It's just that's it. You're solid. No, there's no sign of that extra cake I ate there.
No rolls
nice
anymore.
Exactly. You got all that. You got that, and you feel you can. There's that. The toughness of maybe of your skin. That was all good. But you know what, I remember going in one of the times, and it was actually my daughter again. God, I think it was my first. You see, when it's your first, it's all so new. And going in, I think I gained 1.5 stones in 4 weeks. And now I had quite significant weight gain when I was pregnant, and it was something I really struggled with.
I don't weigh myself though.
You're dead right, but
I haven't at all throughout the whole pregnancy. I guessed when the doctor asked me. I guessed. You guessed.
Well, that focus on weight was something terrible, and it sounds like people are.
It's pretty shocking though. When, that pressure.
Yeah.
And I see what people say they put on. My friends tell me and stuff. Oh God, that's a lot. But they're numbers. And it's I don't need to know that.
Yeah.
I've probably put on, I would say probably 3 stone or something. Do I need to know that?
No.
Do I need to see that on scale and be traumatized by it? No.
No, you definitely do not, because those hormones are going to go into overdrive.
Yeah.
I know there's a reason.
I'll never unsee it.
And I know that's right. That's it. I still live in fear of the thing going around that side. And when we're so conscious, of promoting healthy body images and not being so focused on weight and on being healthy and fit and strong, it can feel very contradictory to that, to have to be keeping an eye. And I know they do it for a reason. Obviously they're watching weight gain to make sure all is well. And
I haven't been weighed at all.
Have you not?
No, he asked me my weight at the start, but that's it.
Haven't been weighed at all?
Haven't been weighed at all, no.
See, it's 8 years.
Maybe that's changed, because that hasn't happened to me at all.
Okay.
And I saw scales recently, and I said, will I get on? And I said, no, I won't.
No, you're right. Because I gained 4.5 stone, I think it was, on my first, and it went to go higher with others. And I remember being really, really stressed about this.
As if you don't have enough to be stressed. As if you don't have enough
to be stressed, but you're growing a person,
and it's fluid.
And you've got you've got loads of stuff going on. And of course, my children nearly walked out. They were half rare at the size of them, and they were. But there was that, and I was eating too much cake. There was lots of reasons for it, but I did gain quite a lot. And I remember finding finding that really, really difficult. And so I think, you know, people are really quick sometimes to go, oh, you're so small or you're so big, and they always mean it in the nicest way. Go, that's a fairly impressive bump, or you haven't twins and triplets, was regularly said to me. And then other people pass comments, and we can be kind of sensitive, I think, when you're pregnant, can't you? Because you just want to go, is everything okay? I just want to know I'm okay, you know?
I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? Like pregnant or not, it's not something I'll ever be fully comfortable with. And I don't know why, but I won't, you know? So yeah, that's kind of just something that I do to, like, I base how I'm feeling in my body on how my clothes fit and how I feel in myself. And if I feel like I need to change, then that's what I'll do, you know? But I don't want to base it off numbers, because I don't think they are the basis of whether you're healthy or not.
Yeah. No, there's so much more. Yeah. So many more things to do. So come here, tell me, you have your own podcast too. Tell me about that. Yeah,
so it's called Open Book. And it stemmed from a book club I set up during lockdown, a virtual book club. And our first season was kind of heavily around books, which was lovely. And we'd have a lot of authors on. And then the last season we kind of delved more towards the open and honest conversations. And it was more interview style, and it was lovely. And it's a really nice way to really get a little bit deeper with somebody and learn a little bit more about them. So we'll pick up again now in the new year.
That'll be you'll have great excuse now to read, you know, when you're up feeding baby, you'll be able to try and do a bit of reading and stuff. And
and I love reading. It's the best thing to switch off.
Is that going to be a big thing for you then with baby literacy and stuff, and maybe even reading will be important to you to read to baby from a young age?
Yeah, and saying that, I haven't bought one book. I see all these pictures of nurseries with loads of books, and I'm like, I just haven't thought to buy a book. Well, they won't be able to understand it for a while. You'll
have time again.
When do you start reading to babies?
Yeah, do you know, I know apparently you're supposed to do it right from birth, and I think I was much better at doing it with my older children than my younger children, but then they have older siblings, so I'll sometimes read to them. But it is it's definitely something I wish I'd kept going quite the same with the younger children as I did with the older children, because you instill this great love for reading in them, but then some children aren't as keen on it, and I think that's part of it too. So you have to really work to try and help them develop that love. But I was writing a piece actually recently on literacy in children, and the person I was speaking to was telling me that it's really important to read to children from a really young age, you know, just kind of get them in the habit of that. So but it's a bit like, you know, when we hear
another thing added to the list. I'm going to go home now to my Amazon postman's going to love me.
There you go. I need books suitable for a newborn.
Literally, I'll be texting Mark, we need to buy some books quick, we need to put up a shelf.
I'm going to be a terrible mother if I don't read in the first 2 or 3 days. That whole worry that's coming.
But they also, like, people say you're supposed to play music to the bump and you're supposed to talk to the bump.
Mozart is opposed to Eminem.
I didn't do really any of that, you know. And if people ask me, did you play music? I'm like, yeah, loads of Taylor Swift. The baby loves Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we were going to get there. Taylor Swift, isn't that convenient that the baby loves Taylor Swift? Isn't that shocking altogether?
I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, it's funny. I suppose it's different for everyone. Like.
But I wanted to ask you about your other businesses, and I know we talked about you weren't sure how you were going to manage them, but do you think you'll be inspired to maybe go into a children's line
of clothes? God, clothing is hard. I'll say that. It's very, very hard. It's a hard business to be in. There's so many variables, but I don't know that yet. I'll never say never.
Yeah,
but I know that it's not something that you say, that sounds nice, let's do that. Children's clothes are so cute.
They are.
Because it takes the cute, like, running a business takes the cuteness out of everything. You know what I mean? So
here you go into the hard slog of it, and all of a sudden.
And I think it's okay to have certain things in life that you just like, and you just, you know, and it's okay to have certain things that are just hobbies, and not everything has to be.
Not everything has to be. That's a really good way to say it. I have to ask you about Mark. Now, I know, Mark, your relationship is something that you don't talk about quite that much online, but you did meet him online. Is that right?
Yeah.
So like your life online is such a big part of your life. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Yeah.
So we met during, it was kind of, we were out of one of the lockdowns, but it was still like that COVID time.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just had like kind of a lot of downtime. I ended up living quite near where he was living at the time.
Okay.
So we were able to like meet up, and it was great. We lived in a bubble where nothing was open and there was no pressure to go anywhere, and where, you know, everyone was working from home, and we just had more time together than we would ever have had, you know, if life was normal, because I'm busy and he's busy, and it's funny even since then how much our lives have changed. And yeah, like he's not really into social media.
So does he find it weird watching you then live so much of your life on social media?
He gets it completely. You know, it's just not something he's ever really been into. I think he understands it. Definitely he understands the work side of it, but he also understands like there's a lovely part of it as well, that it is just about connecting with people. And I think he enjoys that. He loves seeing it, you know, but he's happy enough to do it, you know, from the passenger seat.
Yeah,
and,
rather than be very present. Does he ever worry about kind of negativity that comes your way or that can come your way? It can come anybody's way who's on social media. Yeah,
but he's quite good at giving perspective on it. You know, he kind of knows the things that are worth taking on board and not, you know, and worth ignoring.
And how do you manage it?
I suppose I've been doing it for 7-8 years now. You just get more used to it. Some days it upsets you more than others, or you know, I don't get that much now, to be fair. I don't get very much negative stuff, but you can't take it all on board because people will be braver online than they would be in real life, because a lot of it can be said anonymously and things like that, you know. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm okay at dealing with it because I don't get a huge amount of it, and I also know what's worth taking on board, you know.
Okay, so is there any, like, has there been any that maybe have stuck out in your mind as something that you found particularly difficult to deal with?
I put up that I started my hospital bag 2 or 3 weeks ago, and someone replied and said, "You haven't started yet," like, you know, things like that. That would make you feel bad when you're pregnant. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine?
It's the judgment, like
things like that. Yeah. But then I just take a screenshot and send it on to someone, and I'm like, ugh, how annoying.
That is a great, oh my God,
and then I feel better, and then I move on.
As long as you've got someone to rant with, isn't that the thing? Because I know what you're saying, and I do think sometimes it's because people feel braver online, don't they?
Yeah.
And that's one of the hard things about parenthood, isn't it? You feel a little bit, well, that's maybe as a mum to be, you feel maybe a little bit judged about, have you started, are you organised or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure I'm going to do everything wrong.
You will, don't worry, if you have, by the time they get to teenagers, you will be in no doubt that you're doing everything wrong, because that's what comes with, they'll tell you often enough you're doing everything wrong and you're not doing it like Johnny's mother is doing it, and that's the way to do it. And you'll be grand, you'll smile sweetly, because that's what you have to do when you have teenagers. They'll be all grand. But you would love if people just kind of thought for a second, wouldn't you, before they post, and just think, you know what, this is hard. You know, it's hard putting yourself out there, even though it's a choice. It's still hard to put yourself out there sometimes and post and share, and you're doing stuff that you think people might be interested in seeing or might help somebody else, or just to kind of share parts of your journey, and then you get those kind of messages, and it's a bit hard, especially if you're any kind of overthinker. And then
I think that's when I'm a little bit like, right, don't share stuff then if you're not ready to take on board what they might say, you know. So I try and preempt that, you know. And
really check you're mentally in the right place.
Yeah, like if I think, oh, that's probably a little bit personal. Yeah. Am I ready for someone to say I'm doing that wrong? Or then if I'm not ready, then I won't post it. Because I've enough to be dealing with than getting myself upset over something that I know I'm going to get upset over. Do you know what I mean?
It's all about, I suppose, checking where you are really at any stage.
I suppose that's probably finding the line between sharing and oversharing, you know, as well.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a couple of quick fire questions. So straight answers, first answers.
Okay, let's do it.
Favourite Taylor Swift song?
Cruel Summer. Before everyone else loved it.
Before it was trending.
Before it was back on the radio every day.
What food could you never live without?
Ice cream.
Okay, answered very confidently, very, very confidently. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Is a burger?
No.
Is a Jaffa cake a cake or a biscuit?
A biscuit.
Okay, controversial. And what would you rather go on? Bake Off or Strictly Come Dancing?
Oh. This is not quick. I'd love to be able to dance. So let's say Strictly.
Yeah, so what I love Strictly. Ideally with Nigel Harman, even though he's a celebrity as opposed to a professional dancer. Are you watching the new series?
I haven't yet, but I'm going to. I want to see Angela Scanlon.
She's brilliant. She is brilliant. She was really great. She brings such enthusiasm and energy to it. She's absolutely fantastic. And why not Bake Off? Are we exposing some baking weakness now?
No, I feel like I'm an okay baker. Yeah. But I feel like Strictly so glam, you know.
It is, yeah, it is.
Like, how fun. I'd be terrible, though. I'd be absolutely appalling.
I bet you wouldn't.
I really would.
Would you be a crafting mum?
Maybe if
Are you very creative?
If I lose one of the businesses.
Okay, this could be a new venture. A new venture.
I can't fit in anything else right now. But yeah, I guess look, life will change.
You lose a business, or if a business goes and we go, do you know what? I'm going to park that now because I have a great love for crafting, and this is who I am now. This is who I am.
Yeah. I'll be a kept woman at home baking. That'd be the dream.
We've heard it here first. The dream to be a kept woman in baking. I love it, Louise. No, I am so looking forward to when you have the baby and hearing all about baby's birth and hearing whether you have a boy or a girl and how you're getting on. So please do keep in touch with us.
Not long now.
Not long now at all. Very exciting.
Thank you.
Thanks a million, Louise.
Thanks for having me. Great fun.
That's it for my very first episode of Season 3 Aldi's Mamia&Me podcast. A huge thank you to Louise Cooney for stopping by to have a chat with us. If you've enjoyed it, please do share online or share with a friend. And don't forget, if there's a guest you'd love us to chat to or a topic you'd love us to cover, please do get in touch. Details are in the show notes, or you can contact us at aldi.ie/Mamia.